The release of the Yamaha R9 has for some reason sparked a lot of controversy among riders online. This may be because people believe that it's basically the MT-09 with fairings, but it kind of is. Like, on one hand, both the bikes are so similar, but then again they're all so different. In this video, I'm going to be comparing whether you should buy the Yamaha R9 or one of the MT-09s. There's a normal version, and then there's the SP version, which is, what is that, $1,000 more. And I have to admit, all of these three bikes do share a lot of similarities. So pretty much, all of these bikes have the same engine, which is a liquid-cooled DOHC inline 3-cylinder. That is, of course, 190 cc's. Again, it does give the same compression ratio of 11.5 to 1, which, again, all these bikes are similar, but I think if you hate the MT-09, then I kind of understand why you would hate the Yamaha R9. But the bike is actually quite good, so there's no reason to hate it, in my opinion. They both give out about 119 horsepower with 93 newton meters of torque, which these bikes are honestly torque monsters. I kind of have a feeling that horsepower is what sells the bikes, but torque is what wins races. But it's very overlooked in my opinion, because people just look at the horsepower, because that's what everyone thinks matters. But at the end of the day, I mean, at the end of the day, these are just bikes. It's not that deep, but looking at one single metric is kind of stupid in my opinion. If you have a look at the MT-09 dyno chart, then you'll notice that the torque curve is pretty linear. It's very flat. It doesn't peak and then drop, or it's nothing odd like a 2-stroke or whatever. I mean, obviously this is a 4-stroke, but you get what I'm saying. But horsepower is very linear. It does rise. I mean, kind of like a V4. I mean, these bikes are 3-cylinder bikes, inline 3 cylinders. So I mean, is that kind of expected, I suppose? But as you can imagine, such a consistent torque is pretty good for street riding, which is what the MT-09 is. Because I mean, you don't want to be shifting gears the whole time, you know, like downshifting or whatever to get in the right torque, RPM. Like, it's just, for street use, it's just too much. Like, you kind of don't want to think about it. But obviously having a nice gradual increase in horsepower is pretty nice. One difference that does make sense is that the weight of the bikes, the R9 is 195 kg, which is 2 kilograms heavier than the MT-09, which, I mean, I'll take this, 193, and it does make sense because it does have more fairings, and in general, I mean, it's just a sport bike. I mean, look at it. But I mean, I guess the ultra light aluminium frame is not saving that much weight, but I mean, I don't know. They say it's mega light, but then it will probably be like a few grams light. I mean, the gravity cast thing is nothing new. I mean, you just pour an aluminium into a mold, and then gravity basically does the work. But in my opinion, where these bikes shine, apart from the torque, is that they have a 6-axis IMU. And I mean, this is actually really good. I mean, it's got pretty much all the electronics that you need. I mean, the one thing missing, I guess, is electronics only in the suspension, but I mean, for a street bike, which, I mean, it's what it is, I reckon it's fine. And yeah, pretty much electronics wise, this bike is pretty good. I mean, you know the drill. It has a wide by ride throttle, ABS, different ride modes, a quick shifter, traction control, launch control, wheelie control, engine brake control, and slide control. I mean, I don't even know what slide control is, but I mean, I guess that's a new one. Yeah, I guess the lift control is basically a wheelie control. I don't know why brands do that. I don't know, fancy. Like Aprilia, instead of calling it WC, wheelie control, or LC, lift control, they have AWC, Aprilia launch control. So it's not Aprilia wheelie control, my bad. So it's not wheelie control, it's Aprilia wheelie control. You have to get the A in it. Yes, and also I'm very glad that the R9 finally has Brembo Stelema brakes, because like the standard version of the R1 had like the quite bad the Yamaha OEM brakes, which honestly just weren't that good. Like the pads are really woody. Like the brakes are the first thing that I would upgrade. But I mean, it's so good that they have it with Brembo Masters as well, which I mean these brakes are like super nice. It's definitely one of those selling points. And also, I mean, these winglets do look sick, I have to admit. And I love how these bikes have like the little like thin grill thing. I don't know, I just think it looks good. Just little details. I don't know, I really like the bike, honestly. And then also some of the more boring stuff is they both have a 14-litre tank, which is like kind of bad. I mean, it's not that bad, I guess. It's kind of standard now. And between the Yamaha R9 and the MT-09, I believe that tyres are the same, with a 180 in the rear and a 120 on the front. But also another nice upgrade on the R9 is that it has different suspension, which, well, the forks at least, I'm actually not sure about the shock, but the fork is a 43mm KYB inverted one compared to the MT-09, which has a 41mm, I believe. Oh yeah, there we go, 41mm on the MT-09, which, I mean, it don't really matter, I suppose. I mean, this is like obviously street bike. I mean, I think even the SP version is 49mm. I mean, 41. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, I mean that's a nice upgrade. Which, I mean, it does make sense because the bike is going to be, fast. I mean, I'd call it a super sport. Yamaha aren't calling it a super sport, but I think it is, honestly. And from what I know in person, the R9 is a lot wider and like taller than you'd think. It is taller than the MT-09 by quite a bit, apparently. However, the one difference powertrain wise and performance, just powertrain wise, that I notice, I think, is that the R9 has a different final gear ratio. And I'm not sure on the exact teeth number front and rear, but the front and rear sprockets are different, which, I mean, I'm assuming so that the bike can reach high top speed, because it is a super sport. Well, yeah, it is a super sport at the end of the day, but it's a sport bike. Yeah, people are going to want to go fast. But I mean, the thing is, depending on how fast it is, personally, if I had it, I'd maybe just buy a bigger sprocket just to increase the torque. But it depends on what you want to do. I mean, 90 newton meters, it's a lot. But the only thing that I find weird on this is that although the bike is, faster, well, supposedly fast, it is a sport bike, the wheelbase is actually shorter on the R9 compared to the MT-09, which, I don't know if I'm reading this wrong, but 1.42 millimeters. I believe it's 1,420 millimeters or 1.420 meters. I don't know why it's such a mistake, but unless I've completely lost my mind. But on the MT-09 we have, look, what's that? 5mm difference, is it? 10mm. So it's actually, the MT-09 is actually longer, which I don't know why, because it would not be reaching as fast top speeds because of mainly the gearing. But also, I mean, obviously, it's not got any fairings on your wind protection or anything, so I don't know why you'd want to go so fast on this bike. I mean, it does have a lot of power, don't get me wrong. But surely, if you're going to be going faster, you just automatically want a longer wheelbase, which, I mean, this one has R9 has a shorter one, which I'm not sure why. Because obviously a longer wheelbase would provide stability. I mean, yeah, true, the bike will be more nimble, but I mean, I'm assuming that's not why you're buying a super sport. I don't know, I'm not sure, it's kind of weird. It does probably have a reason. I mean, I'm sure it's fine. Personally, I wouldn't touch the wheelbase at all, I wouldn't extend the swing arm or anything. Speaking of swing arm, I think the MT-09 and the R9 do have pretty much the same swing arm. It's a different frame pretty much, but the swing arm, the rear swing arm is different. Also, another weird thing is that the R9 has a 94mm trail and the MT-09 has a larger trail. And if you don't know what trail is, so I don't know if I'm saying this correctly, but for example, if you had your bike on the flat surface and you drew a straight line that's perpendicular to the ground that goes through your bottom headset cup, and then if you drew another line which is the same angle as your head angle of the bike, and basically when them two lines cross the bottom horizontal line that your bike is on the ground, and the distance between them where they cross is the trail. So I mean, obviously you can, if the bike has a slacker head angle, then the trail is going to be longer. So it kind of does not make sense why the MT-09 will have a longer trail. I mean, again, you should be going faster. Well, it is designed to go faster, body position, gearing, everything. It's got wind protection, fairings. It's got winglets, for crying out loud. But it doesn't have as steep, as slack of a head angle, which is weird. But I don't know. If I'm saying this correctly, then please somebody just tell me, because I want to see. I'm not sure. Like, this does seem like kind of weird. But overall, I'd probably say that if you like the MT-09, but you want something that's more like a sport package, then I'd say go ahead for the R9, because it is a good bike. I mean, that price-wise as well. I mean, 12 grand, like, it's from the dealer, it's pretty good, honestly. And for what you're getting, like, you're getting all the good electronics, good suspension, good brakes, like, full package rate. It's everything. And if you've ever been on an MT-09, then you just know, like, how good they are, how much torque they have. Like, the bike is, like, brilliant, honestly. So yeah, like, if you're thinking about the R9, then I'd personally go ahead. It's a great bike, especially like the price wise as well. If you're on an R1, it's gonna be quite a lot more expensive. And this is like 100 something cc's less, which obviously you're not getting as much horsepower, but like torque wise, it's it's there. It's pretty solid. So yeah, subscribe if you want more content like this.